I said nothing wrong. I didn't say that they was this and that. I said, how you gonna have a GoFundMe for $100,000 and all these to be trapping? That's not for his baby. They have insurance for that. They say everything going to his mama. I talked to the baby mama.
While ZeeTheWizzard's homies are out throwing money in the club, wasting hundreds of thousands on jewelry and flexing their wealth on social media, his mother is struggling to cover the costs of his funeral, forced to start a GoFundMe for $100,000 just to lay her son to rest with dignity. I know you're probably wonder what kind of funeral costs 100 bands. We'll get into that later, but first let's talk about how these goofy-ass New Dallas rappers just got exposed. Behind all that New Dallas unity and brotherhood they've been preaching, these rappers was running a fake operation that ultimately left one of their own family members begging strangers on the internet for help when tragedy struck. The shocking truth behind how these so-called millionaire rappers abandoned ZeeTheWizzard's family in their darkest hour is more heartless than anyone imagined, and we're about to expose it all. Yo, what's good, fam? We about to dive deep into some real industry politics and fake loyalty that's been shaking up the Dallas hip-hop community. And trust me, this story gonna have you questioning everything you thought you knew about these New Dallas cats. Now, before we get into this wild ride, let me keep it 100 with y'all. Social media been buzzing about ZeeTheWizzard's passing and how his funeral expense has been handled. But yo, we about to separate the facts from the fiction, the real from the fake. Because what really went down behind closed doors is some cold-blooded type shit. For those who haven't been keeping up, New Dallas is this collective of young rappers from different neighborhoods in Dallas who came together under this whole unity movement. We talking about cats like Zillionaire Doe, Montana 700, Head Huncho Amir, and Keith, all these dudes who've been preaching about brotherhood, coming from the streets to success, and how they all eating together. See, New Dallas wasn't just some random group of rappers trying to make it. This was supposed to be a revolutionary movement in Dallas hip-hop. These dudes came from neighborhoods that had been beefing for years. Oak Cliff, South Dallas, different blocks that had real street politics and bloodshed between them. Zillionaire Doe was the main architect, talking about how he wanted to change the narrative. Instead of young black men killing each other over territory and old beefs, he envisioned a collective where everybody could eat, everybody could shine, and they could put Dallas on the map nationally. Now hold up before y'all start thinking this just another rap beef or internet drama. This is about real family pain, real financial struggle, and real loyalty being tested when it matters most. But here's where it gets real spicy. When the cameras ain't rolling and the Instagram posts stop, we found out who these dudes really are. So check it. New Dallas started around 2022 to 2023 when these young cats from different hoods in Dallas decided to come together instead of beefing with each other. But let me break down how deep this movement was supposed to be. Montana 700 came from Oak Cliff, a neighborhood known for producing some real street legends but also a lot of violence. This dude had been in the street since he was young, talking about how he and his best friend been tight since kindergarten until his homie got killed on a play. That's street talk for a robbery gone wrong. Zillionaire Doe came from South Dallas with a different background. His pops had a record label back in the day called Most Dangerous, later renamed Zillionaire Records. So Doe had some music industry knowledge, some business sense, and the vision to see how these different neighborhoods could come together. Head Huncho Amir brought his own flavor to the mix, and Keith was the dude who wasn't even supposed to be rapping initially. According to the interviews, Doe kept telling Keith he had talent and needed to get in the studio. In the hood, we know how rare it is for dudes from different blocks to actually link up and build something together. Most of the time, neighborhood politics keep cats separated, beefing over stuff that happened before they was even born. But New Dallas was different because they had this vision of everybody eating, everybody shining, and representing their city on a national level. They was talking about how there's enough money for everybody, how they didn't need to compete with each other when they could dominate together. Montana 700 said it best in one of their interviews. If I'm the arm, bro the leg. If I'm the leg, bro the head. If he the head, he the foot. Like we one body, and we all going to move as one. Now, ZeeTheWizzard, real name wasn't even supposed to be a rapper initially. This dude was out here trapping, trying to make ends meet like a lot of young cats in Dallas. His music wasn't really doing numbers like that, maybe getting a few thousand views here and there, nothing major. While cats like Montana 700 was getting recognition for tracks that was playing in all the Dallas clubs, and Zillionaire Doe was building his brand with songs about the lifestyle and getting money, ZeeTheWizzard was still finding his voice as an artist. But when New Dallas started gaining traction, ZeeTheWizzard became part of the movement. He was one of the homies, part of the crew that was supposed to represent this new wave of Dallas unity. The problem is, while cats like Zillionaire Doe and Montana 700 was getting major label deals and booking shows for $25,000 to $30,000 a night, ZeeTheWizzard was still struggling to find his place in the music game. See, that's the reality of these rap collectives. Not everybody blows up at the same time. Some cats catch fire immediately, while others take longer to develop their sound and find their audience. ZeeTheWizzard was still in that development phase when tragedy struck. Before we get into what happened, let me paint the picture of how these new Dallas cats was living, or at least how they wanted people to think they was living. We talking about Instagram posts with stacks of cash, expensive jewelry, luxury cars, and constant flexing about their success. Zillionaire Doe was posting about his real estate investments, talking about million-dollar properties and business moves. Montana 700 was showing off with money-counting contests and talking about how they all got bags. The whole crew was projecting this image of young millionaires who made it out the hood. But here's where it gets interesting. A lot of this lifestyle was smoke and mirrors. Rented cars for music videos, borrowed jewelry for photo shoots, and hotel rooms booked just long enough to get content for social media. Then tragedy struck. ZeeTheWizzard lost his life, and just like that, a young man with dreams and potential was gone. The details of how he died ain't fully clear, but what we do know is that his family was left to deal with the aftermath. Now, in the culture, when one of your own passes away, especially someone who was part of your movement, your crew, your family, there's an unspoken code about how you handle that situation. You take care of the family, you handle the arrangements, you make sure your fallen brother gets the respect he deserves. But here's where the story gets deeper than just another young life lost to the streets. ZeeTheWizzard's mother found herself in an impossible situation. Funeral costs, burial expenses, taking care of arrangements. We talking about tens of thousands of dollars that this family didn't have. Now, let me break down what funeral expenses really look like for y'all who might not know. A basic funeral can cost anywhere from $7,000 to $15,000. But when you're talking about giving someone a proper homegoing service, nice casket, burial plot, flowers, programs, reception for family and friends, you're looking at $20,000 to $50,000 easy. And that's just the funeral. Then you got other expenses. Time off work for grieving family members, travel costs for relatives coming from out of town, and all the other financial burdens that come with losing a loved one. So what did she do? She reached out to her son's so-called brothers, these new Dallas rappers who've been flexing millions on social media, buying expensive jewelry, renting luxury cars for music videos, and talking about how they all family. The real kicker though, these dudes initially wasn't trying to help. Here's a grieving mother asking the people her son considered family to help with basic funeral expenses, and she got the cold shoulder. That's some real heartless type shit right there. Let that sink in for a minute. While Zillionaire Doe posting pictures of his million-dollar real estate investments and Montana 700 flexing with stacks of cash, ZeeTheWizzard's mother had to create a GoFundMe asking strangers on the internet for $100,000 to bury her child. Think about how that must have felt for this woman. Your son is gone, you're dealing with grief and trauma, and the people he called his brothers, the same dudes he was riding with, making music with, building this movement with, they know where to be found when you need them most. But yo, this is where the story gets interesting. ZeeTheWizzard's mother wasn't about to just suffer in silence. She took to Facebook and exposed the whole situation. She called out these rappers by name, talking about how they abandoned her family when they needed help the most. Now, in the hood, we know that when a mother speaks out about her child being disrespected, that carries weight. This wasn't just some random person talking. This was the mother of someone these dudes claimed as family, and she was telling the world how they really move when the cameras ain't rolling. The Facebook post was raw, emotional, and it cut deep. She basically said, y'all been talking about how much money y'all got, how y'all family, how y'all take care of each other. But when my son died, where was that energy? Once that Facebook post started circulating, the Dallas hip-hop community started taking sides. Some people was defending New Dallas, saying maybe they didn't know about the situation or maybe they was handling it privately, but others was calling them out, saying there's no excuse for not taking care of your own. The post started getting shared, commented on, and discussed across social media platforms. People was asking questions like, if these dudes really millionaires like they claim, why is this family struggling? And what kind of loyalty is this? The real tea that got everybody shook was what happened next. Once that Facebook post started circulating and people started questioning New Dallas about their loyalty, suddenly these same rappers who wasn't answering calls was ready to help. But here's where it gets real. Was this genuine concern for their fallen brother's family, or was this just damage control to protect their brand and image? When you look at the timeline, it's pretty clear that the help only came after the public exposure, after their reputation was on the line. That's some calculated type shit right there. Not helping when the family reached out privately, but jumping into action once their image was threatened publicly. That tells you everything you need to know about their priorities. Then you had cats like Rainwater calling out the whole situation, questioning how these dudes could have a GoFundMe for $100,000 when they supposed to be millionaires. Rainwater was basically saying what a lot of people was thinking. If y'all really got it like that, why is this family struggling? Rainwater said, how you going to have a GoFundMe for $100,000 and all these dudes trapping and getting money? Why his mom got a whole GoFundMe for $100,000? That hit different because it exposed the disconnect between the image these rappers project and the reality of their financial situation. But Rainwater took it further, talking about how these same dudes had been laughing at his pain for years, and now when it was time to show real loyalty to their own, they came up short. He was basically saying, y'all fake, and now everybody can see it. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. A lot of these young rappers, not just in Dallas, but everywhere, be living this fake millionaire lifestyle for social media. They renting cars, borrowing jewelry, staying in hotels for one night just to get content, then going back to regular life. The reality is, most of these dudes ain't really got the money they be flexing with. They might get a decent show here and there, maybe sell some merchandise, but they ain't sitting on millions like they want people to believe. Montana 700 talked about getting $25,000 to $30,000 for shows, which sounds like good money. But after you pay your team, your travel expenses, your management, and taxes, that $30,000 might turn into $10,000 to $15,000. And if you only doing 1 or 2 shows a month, you ain't living like a millionaire. Zillionaire Doe talked about his real estate investments, but even he admitted that they went in on properties with multiple people. So when he talking about $1 million property, he might only own 20 to 25% of that. The math ain't adding up to the lifestyle they projecting. But here's the deeper issue. Why do these rappers feel the need to fake their wealth in the first place? It's because in hip-hop culture, your perceived success directly impacts your actual success. If people think you broke, they less likely to book you for shows, buy your music, or take you seriously as an artist. So these dudes get caught in this cycle where they spending money they don't have to look successful, hoping that fake success will lead to real success. But when real-life situations arise, like a funeral that needs to be paid for, they can't maintain the illusion. For y'all who might not understand the street code, let me explain. When someone from your crew, your family, your movement passes away, taking care of their family ain't optional. It's mandatory. It don't matter if you got $100 or $100,000, you contribute what you can. In the hood, we seen dudes who barely had enough money to eat still throw in $20 or $50 for a funeral fund. We seen drug dealers who was beefing with each other put their differences aside to help pay for a funeral. That's just how it's supposed to work. But what we saw with the ZeeTheWizzard situation was these dudes treating his death like it was just another Tuesday. No immediate support, no reaching out to the family, no taking care of business the way it should have been handled. The disrespect was even deeper because these same dudes had been using ZeeTheWizzard's name and image to promote their New Dallas brand. They was benefiting from the association with him while he was alive, but when he died, they acted like they barely knew him. We see this pattern over and over, rappers flexing wealth they don't have, claiming loyalty they don't possess, and abandoning people when real-life situations arise that require more than just social media posts and empty promises. The ZeeTheWizzard situation became a case study in how quickly these fake relationships crumble when tested by real adversity. All that talk about we all we got and family first disappeared the moment it required actual sacrifice. At the end of the day, we got a mother who lost her son and had to fight just to get help burying him from the people he considered family. That's some real pain right there, and it shows how hollow all that New Dallas unity talk really was. Think about the emotional toll this took on her. Not only is she dealing with the grief of losing her child, but she also had to deal with the betrayal of people her son trusted. She had to publicly expose these dudes just to get them to do what they should have done automatically. When Montana 700 and Zillionaire Doe finally did step up to help, it felt more like they was protecting their brand than genuinely caring about their fallen brother's family. The timing was too convenient, coming right after the public call-out. The damage to New Dallas's reputation from this situation is going to be long-lasting. Every time they talk about loyalty and brotherhood moving forward, people gonna remember how they handled ZeeTheWizzard's family. That's the type of reputation damage that's hard to recover from. At the end of the day, ZeeTheWizzard's situation isn't just about funeral expenses or GoFundMe campaigns. It's about loyalty, authenticity, and what it really means to be family in this culture. These New Dallas rappers learned a hard lesson about how quickly your reputation can be damaged when your actions don't match your words. All that talk about unity and brotherhood means nothing if you can't show up for your people when they need you most. For other young rappers watching this situation, take notes. Your character is tested not when everything is going good, but when tragedy strikes and people need you to be more than just a social media personality. What are your thoughts on how New Dallas handled ZeeTheWizzard's situation? Do you think their eventual help was genuine or just damage control? And what does this say about the culture of fake flexing in hip-hop? Share your thoughts in the comments and make sure you subscribe because we gon' keep bringing you the real stories behind the headlines.